we need to start mentioning Minnesota with the best teams in the Big Ten Conference. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Minnesota is the most balanced team in the Big Ten West, and maybe outside of those two at the top, the Buckeyes and the Wolverines, they might be the most balanced team in the remainder of the Big Ten. They need to be mentioned. You need to start mentioning Minnesota with Penn State and a Michigan and Ohio State. You need to start putting them in that category. You probably got Michigan and Ohio State as the top two teams in the Big Ten, but that next group is probably Penn State and Minnesota. They're right there. We're going to figure out who that three team is later on in the season when the Gophers go to Happy Valley, right? They're stout on defense, on the run and the pass. I especially love them in the secondary. Newbin at safety, and Justin Wally is a star. Justin Wally is the second coming of Antoine Winfield Jr. in that Gopher defensive backfield. He is a turnover machine. I love what he can do, taking the football away, and man, they did it again today. They did it again. This is a fantastic defense. Ever since Joe Rossi took over as defensive coordinator in the middle of the season, what was that, 2018? Yeah, I think it was 2018, I believe, before that Purdue game. This has been consistently been one of the best Big Ten defenses year in and year out. Some people don't want to see it, some people don't want to admit it, but it's the truth. For the Gophers on offense, we talk about balance. Boy, there might be no more definition of balance in the Minnesota offense right now in college football. You've got the best running back in the Big Ten Conference back there, and Mo Ibrahim. There's good running backs in the Big Ten, but I think it's Mo, and a lot of other guys are close to him, but I honestly believe he's the best in the Big Ten Conference right now at the running back position. And I think the group that makes the offense flow all together is that big offensive line. That offensive line, the Minnesota Moving Company up there, just pushes guys around on the line of scrimmage. And Tanner Morgan has time to throw. There's big gaping holes for the running backs to go through, whether it's Mo, Trey Potts. I like what Bryce Williams can add as a three-back right now. Look, they can do everything. And look, you get this result after you lose your star wide receiver, Chris Altman-Bell, to an injury. You know, you might not have a 1,000-yard receiver. In fact, you probably won't have a 1,000-yard receiver now that Chris Altman-Bell is no longer there anymore. You're going to have a lot of good guys. Tanner Morgan is going to spread the football around a lot more this season instead of having a main guy. Michael Brown-Stevens, Brevin Spanford, tight end Daniel Jackson made some two touchdown catches as well in this game. Of course, Dalen Wright. There's going to be a lot of guys to throw to right now, and defenses are going to have to game plan for that. And speaking of game planning, Michigan State, man, you can game plan all you want. That secondary can't stop anybody through the pass. Those issues can continue from last year to this year, and they've got a lot of issues up front. You know, Mel Tucker's a defensive guy. Mel Tucker has a good defensive resume. It boggles my mind why he hasn't been able to figure out defensively. I know they had some injuries coming into this game. They lost Chris Vogel in the middle of this game, but man, they still got manhandled. They still got beat up front, and Tanner Morgan was still be able to throw over this secondary in the passing game. If they aren't able to get healthy, if they aren't able to fix their defensive issues, they're going to run into a lot of problems, and they're going to struggle to get to bowl eligible. Let me get back to that. Michigan State offense, if you can't run the ball, right, if Berger and Broussard on that O-line can't do anything, you're going to have a tough time, because Peyton Thorne is not a quarterback that can put 404 up and lead you to victory with his arm, right? Beginning of the season, I said he was the most underrated quarterback in the Big Ten Conference. He still might be that, because maybe there's a reason he is underrated right now. When you don't have a running game, I think the flaws come out for Peyton Thorne. I really do. Last year, they had a great running game. You had a guy in Kenneth Walker where maybe even if the offensive line didn't do what they were supposed to, he was able to make moves and provide a really good running game. Now you don't have that. Now you got a couple of guys back there, right? And Broussard and Berger. You look at their past, okay, yeah, they're talented, but together they're not Kenneth Walker. This is not a running game like it was a year ago, and this offensive line, isn't great. It's just, Jaden Reed can only take you so far. Peyton Thorne is only going to take you so far. They got a lot of issues. And Peyton Thorne isn't a guy that's going to be able to carry them as an offense and try to solve those issues. For Michigan State, you got to go to Maryland. You got to play Ohio State. You got to play Wisconsin. Michigan is in there. Of course, Penn State is in there. This is a team. If things stay the way they are and they don't make drastic changes and they don't get better significantly, this is a team that's going to struggle and be right on the bubble in terms of bowl eligibility at the end of the season. I firmly believe that. You look at that Maryland passing attack, you look at that Michigan State secondary, you tell me what's going to happen. You tell me in the comments below what you think of this game. Do you think Michigan State has got some serious issues really across the board on offense, inability to run the football, defense, inability to stop anybody through the air? What about Minnesota? How good do you think this team can be? Let me know, comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we will see you in the next one.